Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Pauly Howard. We're live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Fun program lined up today. Over the next 3+ hours, Paul Charchian will join the show coming up in 30 minutes. Fantasy breakdown for the upcoming week. Player prop bets that he has for tonight and this weekend as well. John Waro is going to join the program, who covers the Bills for the AP at the Bills-Dolphins game coming up tonight. And Steve Wiss on the show, Best Bets in Soccer. We'll see what he has for an encore. 5-0 last week here on the program. Pauly, how are you feeling about this game tonight? You love Thursday night football. We have this quick turnaround now. Dolphins have been hideous and stanky the entire season so far, blowing that game last week, awful in week 1, and now they get this machine known as the Buffalo Bills, and I'm looking across the screen. Some exchanges are as low as 10.5 on Buffalo, but at legal sports books anyway, you're looking at 11.5, maybe a 12.5 still out there. It's been a house of horrors for them. They haven't won there since 2016, and they're 1-13 against them, going back the last 14. So Josh Allen's 13-2 in his career against this team. Yeah, how about that? That's another one. So this is the most incredible stat. Number one, McDaniel minus $7 to be the first coach fired offshore. $7, 700 to win 100. Think about that. And in 50, if you take out kneel downs, the opponents have scored 13 of the 15 possessions against this horrendous defense. So what's Buffalo going to do against them? And then can Tua get anything going? They can't run the ball. Now, can they throw it and move the ball against Buffalo? I thought the Jets are going to be able to, but that wasn't the case. And Fields couldn't do anything. But I don't know what's going on inside the locker room and how they feel about McDaniel. Because this is the time, if you get blasted and the whole world's watching and you fall to 0-3 and you get blown out, this would be the time to make a change. I think he's gone if this is a repeat of week 1. They come out, they look completely unprepared, and they're blown out from the get-go, and Buffalo shows no mercy, and they score 30-plus points on them. Remember, they had that. They've done that both games so far this year, scoring that many points. And there was that stretch last year where I think they set an all-time record for how many games in a row they scored at least 30 points with their offense. They were, and you have the reigning MVP who doesn't lose to you. So if it's like 35-3 tonight, I think he's gone on national TV. Now, it was interesting. Omar Kelly, who covers the team, was on with Mike Florio, and he thinks Greer will survive, the GM. That's how Ross would handle it. And he also pointed out Greer knows where the bodies are buried with the whole Flores thing with the well, there you go. I'll pay you to lose type deal. So, but definitely, I'm with you if that would happen. That would be the outcome tonight. Just bad vibes all the way around. Horrendous defensively. And then the defensive coordinator, Anthony Weaver, telling the story about his wife called him and saying, you're going to be in trouble Thursday. How are you going to stop Josh Allen? And he's telling the story. I mean, that's how bleak it's been and how bad the defense has been. Okay, so let me give you some trends going into this game tonight. Thursday night, weeks 1 through 4, home teams are 24, 26, and 3 ATS since 2012. We pointed this out last week, although Green Bay got the cover. Washington, again, despite that game, I thought that was a little misleading. That was pure destruction. And yet Washington had the ball going down to try to score, and if they did, they would have actually covered the game, which would have been a miracle. Later in the season typically is when the home field means something. That's when teams have been traveling now for 6 weeks or 2 months, and it catches up with them. Early on the season, in terms of the ATS numbers, home field and home teams not exactly killing it in this spot. However, when you factor in what favorites have done overall, and when they're priced in this range, 7 points or higher, and they're more than 10 in this game. They are 31-2 straight up, 21-10-2 ATS on Thursday Night Football since the beginning of 2014. That's 68%. Steve Makinen with that today at vsin.com. And to flip it here with a total, 32 Thursday games since 2012 have had a total of 50 or more, like this one tonight. Under 22-10, 69%. But again, you're taking your life in your own hands, betting this kind of stuff with Miami, 28th in defensive DVOA, 31st against the pass. The Dolphins are 30th in DVOA against tight ends. Hello, Dalton Kincaid. Yeah. And 31st against running backs in the air.
Kincaid 17-1 most receiving yards tonight. Can you try to get the running game going? Are we going to see Ollie Gordon? He's got 3 carries on the season. What's the deal? I don't know what it doesn't make any sense what he's doing and how bad he came in as his offensive genius and guru, and it's been a disaster what's happened here. So I don't have a lot of confidence in Tua in this spot, although they put a scare into you last year in Survivor. They actually were competitive and a chance to win. There was a key fumble. I think Mostert put it on the ground in Buffalo, but they don't try to run the ball. They can't run the ball. For whatever reason, he won't play Ollie Gordon. He's asked about it. He dances around it. And they can't stop anybody either.
Can I give you the guy to look out for tonight then, maybe for Miami? It's under the radar. These are the kind of guys that I like betting. How about Malik Washington? Now, his receiving yards prop tonight was earlier this morning, 23.5. That's where I bet it. His rushing yards prop was 4.5. You might want to check that. But here's the deal with him. He had a great preseason. He shined in some of those games. He only had 3 catches for 23 yards. This was last week, but he also had that return punt for a touchdown. He had 3 carries for 20 yards, 23 yards actually. And don't forget that he had 2 receptions called back because of offensive penalties. That was last week alone. In the game against Indy in week 1, 2 catches on 5 targets for 20 yards, 1 carry for 9 yards. I'll expand on that because 1 target that he had ended up as an INT. That was Tua's fault. He threw it too short. He had a 20-yard completion that was ruled incomplete.
Okay.
And then later in the game, he was targeted by Zach Wilson twice when it turned into a blowout. Last week against New England, only 1 catch on 2 targets for 2 yards. However, an 11-yard completion taken back, illegal motion, 16-yard completion taken back, holding penalty. So he had 26 snaps and 21 snaps so far in the game. I think that and McDaniel was singing his praises in the preseason. Take that for what it's worth again with this guy on the hot seat. But they have rushed him 4 times so far, and they have thrown him the ball. But what is that now? 3 penalties I just talked about that he had completions called back on? Mm-hmm. So I played over 23.5 receiving yards. I couldn't make up my mind if that was the way to go or bet him over with the rushing yards. He might get the carry or the multiple carries that Ollie Gordon should be getting.
I know. That's freaking me out, too. Absolutely. Allen over 12.5 longest rush and over 29 rushing yards. That seems pretty good, too. Josh Allen won't have 30 yards rushing tonight. And I think they'll pound him on the ground. Bills number 1 in rush attempts. So Cook could eat 2 in this one.
He's had some bizarre games against Miami running the ball. In his rookie season, get this, in the 2 games, he rushed for 135 yards, and in the other one, 95 yards and 2 touchdowns. Since then, he's had games of 18 yards, 3, 47, 17. In last year's games, he had 2 yards rushing and 7 yards rushing. Now, I'm pointing out like the lowest yardage that he has rushed for in those spots. He's also had like 67, 77, but it's been like completely up and down with this guy. Really, really, really good or like nothing at all that he's giving you. Mm-hmm. And I also looked at longest rush tonight, over 12.5 yards, like you pointed out. So in 2024, he went under 12.5 in 12 out of 20 games. In 2023, he went under that number in 11 of 19 games. But if you go back to when he first got into the league, the first 4 years, he went flying over this number in a majority of the games that he started at. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's just maybe a sign that he's dialed it back a little bit.
Yep, very good. I like both teams to make a 33-yard field goal. That's 7-1 this year in primetime games.
Can you rely on Patterson?
I think short, yes, I think so. The Triple Crown is fantastic tonight based on what could happen and a blowout scenario. And it's a good race for most receiving yards, no matter how you look at. And I would really, if they can't move the ball tonight, with Oliver out and Milano out, if you can't get anything going on the ground. But that's why I don't mind Achane 10-1 most receiving yards.
I don't mind that either.
Which he did in the first meeting last year. That was the game Tua got knocked out in the game in Miami. He kept throwing the swing passes to him over and over again.
I heard
this. He had like 11 catches in that game or something silly.
Yeah, Stormy and JVT kicked this around in Money Moves. I believe Stormy said last year in the 2 games, 15 targets, 15 catches against Buffalo.
That was ridiculous.
So, he again, shop around. He was 5.5 with the receptions. Over was even money at FanDuel earlier today. And you figure, Pauly, with a 12-point spread in that neighborhood, they're going to be playing catch-up a lot. So you can see the dump-offs happening quite a bit to him.
Yeah. Largest lead is 17.5.
This is your baby.
I think I got to go under with that one. That's a big boy. And shortest touchdown, 1.5. Under -160. Longest touchdown, 40.5. With some of the other props tonight.
I kind of like the under 1.5 yards tonight. Shop around for the juice because you said -160. I saw much higher than that earlier today.
And how about if the blowout scenario occurs, we get a Davis anytime touchdown, plus 380. Can you get on board?
So I bet 4 guys tonight, small money for the first touchdown.
Is he one of them?
I bet Ray Davis at 32 to 1, I believe.
Okay.
I bet Malik Washington 33 to 1. I bet Kincaid at 14, and I bet Achane at 8. I spread it around at like 3 or 4 different books. Because these numbers are always different. You have to shop around for that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But I just want to have some fun with that.
Every game brings new opportunities to cash in, even if you got the right insights. With VSiN Pro, you get real-time DK and circa betting splits, so you know where the public and sharps are putting their money. Pair that with the morning email from Bill 80, recapping every best bet, every host, every guest. The nonstop live video on the Watch app, the betting system from Mackinnon, the prop analyzers, all the tools you need to stay ahead of the week, every sport. Nigel with soccer, WNBA, NFL, college, it's all up there. Start betting smarter today, $9.99, VSiN.com/subscribe.
I don't think Buffalo is going to be the most selected team in Circa Survivor.
I will say Seattle.
I think so, too.
It'll be close, though. No?
No.
Comfortably Seattle?
Well, no, I'm comfortable saying Seattle's going to be the number 1 selected team.
All right.
I don't know how close Buffalo will be.
Yeah, you got the Bills next week against the Saints.
Win, lose next. Updated Major League Baseball. We could see the biggest comeback in the history of the sport.
Yeah, you got it.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
No, nothing to handicap. There's bet it blind every year since 2002. Yankees win the series and take 2 out of 3 against the Twins. They've owned them. Regular season and playoffs. Highest scoring game was 10-1. Most runs, Yankees, 10-1. Here's what Mitch was talking about. A couple months ago, the Guardians were 15.5 games out. This would be the biggest comeback in MLB history. They just swept the Tigers. They're 3.5 back, and assuming they win the series next week, they would have the tiebreaker. Plus 125 yesterday, 2-1 today. They've won 12 of 13. They're only a game and a half behind the Red Sox now, who just lost.
They were 40-1 to have the most wins in the month of September.
There's another angle.
Getting hot at the right time. They played 29 games this month, and they're taking advantage of it, man. So you're telling me Boston's going to miss the playoffs all of a sudden?
I believe that's in play. I think that's going to happen. They go Toronto, Detroit, and they go to Tampa now coming up.
Oh, boy.
The wheels have come off.
I think Cleveland can catch Detroit after today's game.
Yes. They just beat Scoobel, and they're gonna get them at home next week. Now they start the 4-game set tomorrow in Minneapolis,
right?
And there's a doubleheader Saturday, and they get Lopez, Ryan, and Ober to start the series. But they're 12-1 going back.
Right.
This move over Bucky Dent. Be the biggest comeback ever. Brewers $2 up to $2.70. The A's plus 130. Orioles 11-1 run against the White Sox. The Mercury plus 180. How about that, dog? How about up 30 on the road in a playoff game? And I can't imagine what this paid before the season. Their season ended last night, but Golden State's coach won Coach of the Year. Expansion team made the playoffs.
Their win total was what, 8.5, 9.5?
I think you're right. And they made the playoffs.
And they blew the game last night.
They did.
But so now what do you want to do, by the way, with Mercury Liberty? One of our buddies who was dynamite on the WNBA said he fired big time last night as soon as the number was posted on Phoenix. Thinks the Liberty are dead team walking.
I agree. That's how I would attack it, too. They took money. I'll get to that coming up.
By the way, sorry, one more thing. Mercury should have swept them because Alyssa Thomas missed the bunny at the buzzer to win game 1.
Lost in overtime. Subscribe, be part of the team, vsin.com. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos at Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on. Luke, send this to me. I'll put it on during the commercial break. Look at this. He waits for his friends at the beach. What a setup. Everyone brings their labs and their dogs, retrievers, and they just hang out at the beach, and it's a big party. Going in the water. Regular occurrence. Do this all the time. That's a great setup. It's like in Vermont where you can have the wine and hang out with the dogs on the tour, right? Everyone's got, no leash. Everyone's a good boy. And that's awesome. What a setup.
There are some, I wish that we had more, but there are some terrific dog beaches in Southern California that we try to take our dogs to at least once a year.
Okay. Dog being rescued from a house fire. Not graphic.
No, I saw this.
Oh, okay. It's good. So they come in here to save the day. Hey, help out. The family made it out, but get the dog. There's a fire, right? House fire. So he's in. Where's the dog? Looking for the dog. And he walks into the corner here, and the dog is safe and sound, and he's sitting in the room. But watch what the dog does. Like, okay, buddy, let me get you out of here. Come on, we got to go. We got a fire. He's got the flashlight. There he is. He got to move his gate. And he's trying to corral him. Well, hold on. Slow down. Where are you going? He's leading him to his leash.
Yeah.
So the guy, either the fire department or the cop, I think might have been a cop, can put the leash on him and just get me out of here safely. Walks right to his leash.
How about that?
How smart. That's unbelievable. Puts the leash on him, out we go. We save the day. Everyone's safe and sound. Phenomenal. Liberty 2.5 up to 5.5, and the over 159 up to 164.5. Never had a chance.
Nope.
No good there. Lose some video. Could you put the... Oh, I'll get that. I got a food item for you coming up. And the bad beat Mitch was talking about, Golden State plus 450 on the money line. Up 11 late, up 14 entering the fourth quarter. Minnesota wins by a bucket. Oh, it's a tough one.
That is a killer.
It is. And their season is now over. Minnesota moves on. Before the line moves, sharp plays already there. They don't just follow the market, they help move it. You're not going to outsmart billion-dollar books of full-time sharps on your own with Jeff and the sharp plays. You don't have to. Powered by advanced AI, plugged into trusted insider sources. Been in this racket for a long time. Great stories. You heard them on the air several times. Great connections. Free reports, alerts, and market-moving insights sent straight to your inbox or X feed. They've been at it since 2011. Documented results, public logs, transparent receipts. SharpPlays.com, trusted by pros. Watched by the book, SharpPlays.com. Stay ahead of the line. You can bet Cleveland right now at DraftKings to win the division 9-1.
9-1, okay.
They would, again, if they can win the series next week, they would have the tiebreaker. Seattle and Boston have the tiebreaker over Cleveland. But now, with their loss, they're only a game and a half behind the Red Sox. And Seattle has the tiebreaker over Boston.
And they lead the Royals right now 2-0, bottom of the ninth. And the leadoff batter is up in the bottom. It's Bobby Witt.
All right. But they needed this. So they needed this from Castillo.
Oh, boy, I'd say big time. Let me give you a couple of tweets here. MLB just sent this out a little bit ago. Clayton Kershaw announced today that he's going to retire at the end of the season. I think our lives just flashed right before us. My God, how time. Didn't you go watch him like as a rookie or something like that at Dodger Stadium?
Early in his career, yeah. I loved Dodger Stadium.
So do I.
They didn't even remodel at that point. But that's when I go in the booth and you got Scully to your left and you got all-you-can-eat Dodger dogs and ice cream. And he opened up against the Pirates and they won 1-0. I think Andre Ethier hit a home run, and that was it. And always friendly with the media, good guy, and kind of a complicated legacy. Sandy Koufax in the regular season and batting practice in the postseason.
Well, I mean, where would you rank him in our lifetime in terms of best pitcher to ever take the mound? Three-time Cy Young. He won the MVP in 2014.
He's a top 10 pitcher all time, I think. But it goes back to the issues he had in the postseason. It's unfortunate what happened against Houston because I knew what was coming. He shut him out at home, and then the nonsense in Houston. But then the Cardinals had his number two.
No,
so many bad performances against St. Louis in the playoffs, and I think there was a couple, one or two against the Phillies. But
it's tough to rank these guys. But I'll top five right now. You want to do top five Thursday real quick? Of our lifetime anyway. Like tail end, I saw Nolan Ryan, obviously, but it's not exactly vivid. Steve Carlton, kind of the same thing. So I won't go back that far. I'll go like mid-'80s to right now that we can really remember. Maddox is certainly up there. Randy Johnson, Roger Clemens, Pedro Martinez, and Clayton Kershaw. Who am I missing on that list? And I don't know how to rank them. Part of me wants to go big unit number one. The other part of me says Greg Maddux has to be number one.
Yeah.
But if you want to have Kershaw in that conversation, like I'd listen. Guy was so dominant for, 10 years?
Yep.
At least. Do they win one for him now this year? Send him off into the sunset?
And not with that bullpen. Well, that was a big win last night. And I love Snell. The Chris Russo moment. Roberts, Take a U-turn.
How about that video?
Get off the mound.
We talked about it yesterday on the program.
That was great.
Shaking his head. Nope. I'm staying out here, man. A little bit of trouble for the first time all game. Runners on first and second. And he was just completely dominant last night by striking out a ton of guys. I'm going to close this inning, pal. You walk away. And he did.
Yep. What do you like tonight? We have another moment here. Just like Monday, the Yankees got into Baltimore at 5 in the morning. Fried's been awesome. And I know because of this, Boone sat a couple guys yesterday to get rested. But they got in at 5 in the morning. And they're the game on Fox tonight in Baltimore. And the Orioles are hot. And hello, Judas Priester's going tonight. Milwaukee's won his last 18 appearances and 15 starts in a row. He's won 12 straight decisions. You want to go run line against the Angels. That is incredible. Under the radar, what Milwaukee's done when Priester's been pitching.
He gets Kikuchi, by the way, tonight. So you want to do run line with the home team? You want to do Brewers team total over? You
can do all of that.
All right. How about Priester records a win?
Let me see what that price is. I can look at that, too. Yeah, that's good. I don't know what to do in the late game. It's a great matchup, but the Giants season on the line. Webb, who had been so good, got obliterated last time out against the Dodgers. And Yamamoto he made one mistake. He had the one hitter through 8. That was that crazy game on Friday that the Giants won. And then the Dodgers blew out Webb on Saturday. I think that was Kershaw. So it's Yamamoto and Webb tonight from Dodgers.
Well, that's the beauty of betting, right? Are you going to bet that Webb's going to get blown up by the same team in consecutive starts? I think he probably has a much better start in this spot than he did last time out. Let me give you this tweet from Andrew. Thursday Night Football. This game tonight reminds me of the Chargers-Raiders game Thursday night where they quit on Staley and got blown out and he was fired the next day.
Yeah.
Now, that was late in the season. This is only week 3, but again, this team called a players-only meeting after a week 1 blowout. Never heard of that in my life.
Right. And his post-game pressers and meetings with the media are just bizarre as well.
Yeah, he's a goofy guy.
He is. Yeah. All right. I could see that happening.
Under that scenario, it would be Bills' alternate numbers, with the point spread all the way up to, 17 and a half, 21 and a half, 24 and a half.
And they're on 11-1 over with their team total in their last 12 home games also.
There you go.
I can't see Miami slowing them down.
Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian on the program coming up next, his weekly appearance. Who is the best buy low candidate right now? And what do we do with the rookie running backs at this point? Yikes.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Have you on board. Thanks for watching today on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM channel 158 or any of the great affiliates we have from coast to coast. We head out now to the Progressive Guest Line as Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian makes his weekly appearance here on the program. Charch, good to see you today as always, pal. How are you?
I'm doing great. We've got what should be one-sided affair tonight, but that doesn't mean that we can't find some betting angles on that game. In fact, I think there's a couple of really strong ones we'll talk about later.
We'll do that. Yep, coming up. You're going to stick with us for 2 segments today. We'll do that coming up in the second one. Let's begin here. We all thought that this was going to be a very impressive rookie running back class, right? A lot of guys to get excited about, a lot of potential good landing spots for them as well. Although I would debate Ashton Jeanty going 6th to the Raiders was a good landing spot for him because of the offensive line. But should we be panicking 2 weeks into the season, in your opinion?
Well, in some cases, yes. I mean, every situation's different. Here we are, deepest generational running back class, we were told, and we got all these players who got drafted, and a lot of them are going to be better, of course. And I know cooler heads are always like, you can't judge too much in 2 weeks, but none of them, no rookie running back in the top 20 of fantasy running backs so far. And let's start with Jeanty first. And you guys have probably heard this stat. The Las Vegas offensive line giving him negative 0.2 yards before contact. That means he's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage on most of his carries. And compounding the bad news for Jeanty, the pass blocking is so comically bad. His videos have gone viral of him not even trying. And as a result, here you are, Ashton Jeanty, you're the 6th player taken in the draft. Monday night, he lost half the snaps to Zamir White and Dylan Laube. Under what circumstances is that ever okay? Terrible. Now, here's where Genty, there is some positivity. In these rare instances where he's got open space, he's been really good. He's got the 5th best broken tackle rate among starting running backs. So when he is getting a little bit of room, Genty's doing things with them. He's making guys miss. He's breaking tackles. That part is really positive for Genty. But the other parts, Lions got to get better. And if he's not going to bother to pass block, that's going to be a big problem. Because part of what we loved about Genty was the elite level hands that he brought. You know, we were comparing him to LaDainian Tomlinson, for Pete's sake, which it might have been a bit premature. But if you're not on the field on third down because you don't bother to pass block, obviously you're not going to catch many passes either.
Yeah. What about Hampton with the Chargers? I have him in, I think, several leagues, and I don't even know if I can start him this week.
Brutal. On Monday night, Hampton, was it Monday? They play Monday?
Yeah.
They played Monday night.
Yep.
Monday night. Hampton had the same number of carries as the blind guy, Najee Harris. I mean, just 12 snaps for Hampton. I mean, here's the deal. Hampton is a north-south runner. Teams are trying to figure out if you can get him running laterally, that he's slow and he doesn't cut well in those situations. He's okay if you can get him forward and slightly off forward, but you get him outside, Hampton doesn't look good. Now, fortunately, Najee Harris doesn't look much better. He has not been good either. It's probably a split backfield at this point, but here's your ray of hope for Hampton. It's Denver this week. Nobody wants to pass at Patrick Surtain and Riley Moss. And, that's a great secondary. Everybody's running on the Broncos. They rank 28th in rushing yards allowed. They rank 31st in yards after contact. They're giving up almost 4 yards after contact. So this is an important game for Hampton. The Chargers should be running copiously in this game, and they should be, you'd think, trying to get Hampton back and kick-started here. I don't think... Would I put my money on Hampton? No, but this is a game where he should be sitting in a better spot coming up against the Broncos here.
Okay, we've had a ton of quarterback injuries. How should we handle this now? And should we pick somebody up? What do you recommend with all these injuries?
Yeah, and I'm in a few minutes, next segment, I'm going to give you a betting angle on Jake Browning, but he's the guy to go pick up for one of the best backups in the league, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Browning has thrown at least one touchdown in all 7 of his career starts. Remember, he started that basically half a season 2 years ago, beat the Vikings and rolled up over 300 passing yards on the Vikings 2 years ago. And then last week, had to play most of that game, rolled up 2 touchdowns in that one. So he's always scored at least 1 touchdown. He's got some mobility. We'll talk about that in a minute. 2 great wide receivers in Chase and Higgins to throw to. And the Vikings come in injured into this game. Now, they've been successful in holding opposing quarterbacks in check, but the Vikings in totality could be missing 10 starters between the offense and defense with injury. And at fullback counts, does fullback count as a starter? If it does, that could be 11. This thing could be ugly. I don't understand why the Vikings are favored given the injury problems that they've got. And the switch over to the switch at quarterback as well to Carson Wentz, which we can also talk about. But Jake Browning's the guy to go get.
I think we should talk about Wentz here then. And Paul Charchian is our guest, and he is on the progressive guest line. GuillotineLeagues.com is the website. So with Wentz being the guy, I mean, one of the reasons why I like this team so much going into the year, they still have a lot of really good weapons. How confident are you in Justin Jefferson and some of the other guys for this Vikings team this week and beyond?
All right, let's talk it through on Wentz. I'm going to give you a stat which you may have heard, but I bet a lot of your viewers and listeners have not. And the parable here is in baseball. Have you heard the baseball parable that you have to be a pretty good pitcher to lose 20 games? Yeah, this is similar. Wentz, when he starts on Sunday, will set the all-time NFL record by playing for starting a quarterback at 6 different teams in 6 different years. Mm-hmm. First time it's ever happened, history of the NFL. And this actually could be a sneaky upgrade for the Minnesota offense, given where he is versus J.J. McCarthy. We got 8 quarters out of J.J. McCarthy. 7 of the quarters are pretty bad. 1 was awesome. 7 were pretty bad. I mean, it could be that Carson Wentz just comes in to Minnesota. He gets baptized in the holy water of Kevin O'Connell, like Kirk Cousins did, like Sam Darnold did, even Josh Dobbs did. And maybe Carson Wentz can just be like an NFL average passer and just get the ball to his playmakers like Justin Jefferson. And that would be worthwhile. Look at what Jake Browning did last week. Browning comes into the game and he's like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to throw to Jamar Chase. If I'm Carson Wentz and I'm trying to salvage the last vestiges of my NFL career, I'm going down throwing to Justin Jefferson. And I think, to me, Jefferson remains a safe start here. He's been so underutilized in these 2 games with J.J. McCarthy because they had training wheels on him. Justin Jefferson, arguably the best receiver in football, ranks 37th in wide receiver targets. That's it. They got to get the ball to Jefferson, and I think it's going to start in this game.
What happens with your buddy Mason now, with Jones on IR?
Yes. Mason sitting on potentially 20 carries in this game. I like him. I like his opportunity a lot in this game. So it'll be almost all Mason. And another guy who's going to be helped by Aaron Jones being out is going to be tight end TJ Hawkinson, who's been basically silent for these 2 JJ McCarthy starts, because where Aaron Jones would leak out into the flats, now I think that's going to be TJ Hawkinson's role if he's not spending too much time blocking. The Vikings may be on a 3rd string left tackle and a 2nd string center. I mentioned all the injuries. Offensive line's been hurt. That's my only hesitation on Jordan Mason, who I still think is going to get 20 carries. I just hope this offensive line is healthy enough that they can get a little something done. The Bengals have allowed the 2nd most fantasy points to running backs, and a lot of that's come through the air, and that's not really Mason's game, but there are going to be at least volume opportunities for Mason in this one. I'd check his carry line. I don't know what it is, what his attempt line is, but again, 20 rushing carries is in the realm of possibility for Mason in this game.
I will look for that during the break, and hopefully it's already posted. My guess is it probably is. In about 90 seconds here, who is the best buy low candidate right now?
Same game. Chase Brown of the Bengals is a perfect buy low candidate. He's had a couple of dud games, and the fantasy manager who drafted Chase Brown is probably 0-2. They burned a late 1st-round pick, early 2nd-round pick on Chase Brown for these 2 dud games. They're probably in panic mode with Joe Burrow out. You can spend 70 cents on the dollar, go trade for Chase Brown, and you get an undisputed workhorse runner. No other Bengals got to carry. It's only Chase Brown. He catches. He's on a good offense, and defenses have to defend T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and he's sitting on a good game here. Vikings are seeing the most rushing attempts against them out of any team in the league, and they've allowed the most rushing yards, 131 rushing yards per game against them to opposing running backs. They're going to give up 131, and no other running back gets a carry but Chase Brown. He's the guy.
Oh, very good. Love that. By the way, is it sky is falling already in Minnesota with that sloppy start?
Yeah.
Is it?
There's a lot of skies falling in for the Vikings fans right now. This is not the way it was supposed to go.
No, I know. I got to be honest. So watching like film guys I follow on X, McCarthy's getting 0 help from the offensive line, which is a little surprising, I think, to everybody.
Correct. I mean, absolutely, and that's been a big part of it. Young kid getting absolutely hammered through that offensive line does not help.
I think it was Nate Tice earlier today, who's awesome at this. He sent out, might have been Bill Barnwell, whichever guy it was, basically back-to-back videos where the edge guys for the Texans, who are pretty good, were completely untouched, like 2 different times. So we'll continue with Paul Charchian coming up next. We'll get his fantasy evaluation for players tonight, and also player props that he's looking at, Bills, Dolphins, and also other games in Week 3 coming up.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We'll at tonight's game here with Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian hanging out with us on the Progressive Guest Line. Some player props to look at for the Dolphins and the Bills. That's coming up in a second. I want you to expand on the Jake Browning idea that you have for a prop against the Vikings when he takes them on coming up on Sunday.
Anytime touchdown, plus 850 for Jake Browning. He has had a rushing touchdown in half of the 8 games in which he has had a significant number of time at quarterback, where he's had the majority of the snaps, and that includes last week. He scored a goal line sneak touchdown last week. This is critical. Knowing that the Bengals are willing to give him the ball at the 1 yard line. Very important for anybody that wants to try to, and he's not going to tush push like, Josh Allen is going to, or Hurts will, obviously. But Browning, what he does have, he's a very confident scrambler, and he's very willing to break out of the pocket, run downfield, extend plays with his legs. That sometimes that turns into touchdowns. And then the Vikings defense, as I mentioned earlier, last segment, missing tons of key players, including players who would either spy on Browning or would track Browning down when he breaks the pocket. Harrison Smith, Blake Cashman, and probably Andrew Van Ginkel missing this game. Those are all people whose absence could end up resulting in a Jake Browning rushing touchdown. Plus 850 feels like really good odds for a player who's at a 50% rushing touchdown rate over the 8 games he's had at significant work.
Okay, this guy was the talk of fantasy and drafts and a sleeper. Ollie Gordon has 3 carries on the season. But how about plus 550 anytime touchdown tonight?
Well, here's why I love that. Is people think Ollie Gordon's just not involved in the offense. The thing is, he has a very specific use case. It's the goal line, and the Dolphins haven't had a goal line opportunity yet. They get inside the 5. They specifically want to take reps off of Devon Achane. And you can only read so much into the preseason, but I'll remind you, or one of the preseason games, first one, Achane had all of the carries with the first team offense. They got inside the 5, and then they went away from Achane for the remainder of 4 more attempted running plays. Now, the offensive line's not great. They're not people movers, but Ollie Gordon's is very likely to get rushing attempts from inside the 5. And that's what you're really buying at your plus 550 with an Ollie Gordon touchdown, is you're buying the notion that this ball is going to end up inside the 5-yard line at some point in this game. Nobody knows for sure if that's going to happen, but the value at plus 550 is there. All
right, let's talk about some other props for tonight as well. Paul, what did you have with that stat? Bills 30-plus points at home. Is it 10 out of 11?
Yeah, and then the team total, I think 12 of 13 or something, 11 or 12, yeah.
They're a machine at home and overall anyway, obviously, and they got the reigning MVP. And this Dolphins defense, I mean, at the almost rock bottom of the entire league at a lot of key metrics here. So who do you like tonight in this Bills offense?
Yeah, by the way, who would look really good in this Miami secondary is Jalen Ramsey would look really good.
Yeah, no kidding.
Also, who would look really good at tight end? Jonnu Smith. They got 2 tight end receptions on the year right now. Man, this organization. So, okay. I want to talk first about Khalil Shakir over 40.5 yards, and then we're going to weave in some Josh Palmer, and a lot of what I'm going to tell you really applies to both guys. Miami already has 4 cornerbacks on injured reserve, and 2 other members of their secondary are going to miss this game. And that means at corner, Miami's going to be starting a 5th-round rookie, Jason Marshall. We'll talk more about him in a second. And then Rasul Douglas, who was a street free agent 3 weeks ago. And at safety, they're going to start another 5th-round rookie named Dante Trader. Now, Khalil Shakir missed all of August with a high ankle sprain and didn't look, to my eyes, quite right in week 1. I thought he looked a little bit better week 2. And now I think, week 3, I really think this high ankle sprain's behind him. That could be helpful. And for Shakir, even though he's a slot receiver, they use him all the time. He's averaging 32 routes per game. I mean, that's starter-level route running stuff. And with Jason Marshall, this 5th-round rookie, as their slot cornerback, this is a great opportunity. And, maybe all about Jason Marshall. I'm guessing nobody listening does. Through 2 games, Jason Marshall has allowed a 100% catch rate in his coverage and an unthinkable 60% missed tackle rate when the ball does come to him. So here's a guy who can't cover, and then he can't tackle anybody after the catch. So I love the Khalil Shakir matchup in the slot against Jason Marshall over 40.5 yards.
Oh, beautiful. That's so good. I'm looking right now.
Let me give you Josh Palmer.
Okay, go ahead. Yep.
Yeah. Josh Palmer, his over-under is just 33.5. Yeah. He's getting as much usage. He's one of the outside guys opposite Keon Coleman, who's, by the way, he's actually a pretty good pick too. But over 33.5 is very compelling. He's averaging almost as many routes per game as Keon Coleman. He's averaging 6 targets per game. On 6 targets per game against the secondary, Josh Palmer should be able to easily get to 33.5 yards. He's averaging 13 yards per pass attempt in his direction. So I just need him to basically get 2 catches at 13 yards and bang, we're sitting at the over on Josh Palmer. So I also like him at over 33.5 yards.
All right, how about the Bears and Cowboys? Should be a high-scoring game, 4-point move in the total. Let's start with Swift props. What do you want to do with DeAndre Swift?
We're going to go under on this, and I agree with you on the high point total coming in this game. There's injuries and all kinds of problems with both defenses. DeAndre Swift under 55.5 rushing yards. Now, I know it's been all DeAndre Swift so far in Chicago, but that's because Roschon Johnson wasn't healthy, and Kyle Monangai just a rookie. But Chicago's already a desperate team, and Ben Johnson could pull the trigger on Swift anytime because he's been bad. DeAndre Swift has a 6% broken tackle rate. He has broken 2 tackles despite getting all of the carries for his team through 2 weeks. Just 2. That's it. No runner with DeAndre Swift's 29 rushing attempts has fewer than 2 broken tackles like Swift does. Worse than the league. He ranks 37th in yards after contact. Swift's been bad. Now, here's Dallas's run defense. This is one of the few things that defensively they're doing well. They're giving up just 3.9 yards per carry. They shut down Saquon Barkley in the opener, and then they held in check both Cam Skattebo and Tyrone Tracy last week, although they both scored touchdowns, but they weren't very efficient with their carries. And so there's a lot of opportunity here for Swift to see fewer carries and maybe lose a significant amount of work to Roschon Johnson or Kyle Monangai, who are both good savvy fantasy pickups, by the way, right now, before this all goes down. So we're going to take under 55.5 rushing yards for DeAndre Swift.
Very good. And one more in that game then from Paul Charchian. He's on the progressive guest line. Jake Ferguson, Dallas tight end. You like him this week?
Yeah, I do. I like Jake Ferguson getting heavily used in that offense. Honestly, I like the whole passing game, but we're going to pick Jake Ferguson in particular here for a few different reasons. For tons of usage, not within his own team, but even compared to all tight ends. He's 5th among all NFL tight ends in routes run, and he's 2nd in targets. So the usage is going to be there for Jake Ferguson to go over 38.5 yards, receiving yards. Bears defense reeling with injury and ineptitude. And of particular note, linebacker TJ Edwards has a hamstring, did not practice Wednesday, did not practice today. And get this, Chicago through 2 games, giving up an 83% catch rate to opposing tight ends. Jake Ferguson, with all that usage and Chicago unable to stop it, I think he's got a nice opportunity to get easily clear 38.5 yards.
So good. That was a dynamite, almost half an hour. And again, follow him on X. He is at Paul Charchian, GuillotineLeagues.com as well. Hey, pal, thanks so much for the time today. You're the best. Good luck this week, and we'll see you soon, okay?
It sounds good. We'll see you 1 week from today. Bye-bye, guys.
Okay, very good. There you go, Paul Charchian. My God, the whole time I'm like, that breakdown, well, all of it, but the Shakir breakdown is so good. I'm sitting here looking at laddering him. You can get like plus 850 for 100 yards tonight on him.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, but the plus money starts at 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, whatever.
Well, it's going to be fun to talk Triple Crown coming up. That'll be good. He's in play here. This week's Average Joe contest winner is Margaret Arina. Tough week at the top. 10 contestants went 7-0. Tiebreakers come down to your best bet of the week, followed by best NFL record that week. Free to enter. Every week you get cash prizes, quarterly prizes, trip to Vegas, free stay at Circa, guest appearance on a VSiN show, enter anytime this season. VSiN.com/Joe. Congrats, Margaret. VSiN.com/Joe.
13-1 start.
Oh.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Excellent. I will point out, the Rockies still have to win a game here.
To go over their win total?
No, the futility, the record.
Oh.
It was set, because they get 41 wins. And they have to go to Seattle next week. And there's another tough road opponent there. So they're just about to get swept by the Marlins. That would be loss 112.
Remember months ago when their updated win total was still like 48.5?
Oh, no. You and Burke laughed at that.
And they were in a complete tailspin at the time. They came out and they were like telling the fans, I promise it's going to get better. I love playing for the team. You mean a lot to us. And it was just a complete, they were on fire. I mean, in a bad way. The whole organization just was set on fire.
The Mets lost 120 in the NL record. They go to at Seattle and at San Francisco next week.
All right. More on this game coming up tonight. John Warrow joins the program, covers the Bills for the AP. How much resistance does he think we're going to see from the Dolphins in this game?